Good morning, hail and welcome to our regular Monasdag post from Woden's Earth, the Ancestral Hall. I am Werman Greenraven, and I am the Hayley Weirdman of the Kindred. Okay, this is part 3, I think, of the few videos I've done about Woden. Okay, Odin, Wotan, whoever you want to call him, who you feel. Today I'm going to talk about what is symbolic and a bit about symbolism. Now, I remember once having a discussion, again it's black coffee guys, I'll be working later, so a discussion about the structure of belief and what people actually believe with a guy once. And I made a point that I don't believe that maybe his ancestors is that Thor is like a human type figure in his chariot running around with a big hammer causing thunder, because we now know what causes thunder, don't we? Right, but it's the symbolism behind Thor being the thunder god and fighting the giants and protecting Midgard that we now aspire to. There's nothing wrong with that. So this guy turned around and he goes, no, I just believe in the gods. I believe as his ancestors believed. And I thought, and you're welcome to do that, you know. You believe it the way you want to believe it. But I look at that as being slightly, not backward thinking, but stalled. There's no progression there. There's no self-realisation. It's just monkey see, monkey do, carry on doing what everybody else has always told you to do. The candle's still burning, because I've just held my morning devotional in here. Because I do want to get up in the house, but when I come out here, I do dedicate to one to Woden on my Weirford behind me. Anyway, I digress as usual. It's fair enough, you know, as long as something is heartfelt, that's half the battle. But to me, you need to have studied a little bit. You can just go on watching films like the Vikings and stuff and trying to copy what you see and stuff like that. Or you can actually open your mind, look at all the source evidence and look outside the box and see what you can find. And when it comes to ritual and sacrificial ritual, we've moved on, haven't we? And so it's like a sacrifice of mead is now acceptable rather than an animal or a human or whatever people used to once do before us. Okay, so unless you're going to go down that line and that level of ritual, which you probably end up in jail for doing these days, then you're not doing what our ancestors did. So what we do is only symbolic, and that's what I mean by the word symbolic. We make an offering to the gods and the ancestors. We use mead. You can use food stuff. There's things you can do that don't include bloodletting of any sort. I know some people into that, you know, whatever raises your game. So yeah, it's like it became a moot point, pointless conversation in the end, because this guy was so stuck in the mode. No, Thor's up there. No, Odin's up there. Okay, yeah, have it your way. I'm not bothered. But there's no conversation to be had there. There's no learning to be done, if you like. So I still believe, no matter what conversations I've now had in the past or whatever, that what we do is symbolic of what our ancestors did. It's not the same. Let's not pretend it is. Okay, for a start, they won't be sat talking to a telephone screen, will they, on the road in the shed? This time on a Monasdag at all. Okay, and symbolism is actually a big thing now in it, because what we think we know of the gods, we've only been taught by other people. So unless you go out and look for them personal experiences and the personal learning side of things, then all you're ever going to know is what other people have told you. Again, you know what I mean? So, Woden. Let's have a look at Woden or Odin as a figurehead. Okay. So first of all, he sits in Hiltskjalf, doesn't he? And from there, he can see absolutely everything. He knows everything that's going on in the Nine Realms from sitting in Hiltskjalf. So why does he need the ravens? Just a thought. You know, if you can just walk up to your chair and see everything, you don't actually need the ravens, do you? So what is the chair really symbolic of? Because doesn't know everything in advance. He knows everything that's going to happen, and he kind of knows the order of things, but there are curveballs in the way that he doesn't see coming, or doesn't always know, or it doesn't appear that he does. Okay, so it's like the death of Balder. If he knew everything, why did he let it happen? Right. Personally, I think in that myth, Balder's allowed to die and go to hell because then he will miss Ragnarok and be able to rise again afterwards. Right. That would be the only thing that made sense to me. However, again, I digress. So let's look at the ravens, hooning and mooning, or hugging and munning. And the people say their own way, don't they? And we're told that they are thought and memory. And he would rather lose thought than memory, basically, because his ravens fly out each day, and he fears for hunting, but fears more for money that they won't return. Right? And when I've worked in dementia units, and yeah, when people have got no memory, it's bad, it's sad. Yeah. So even back then, it's just like this symbolic idea of your thought and memory being so important to you, even at the level of the gods. Yeah, it's symbolic, isn't it? It's like you need to be able to think, and you need to be able to remember, but you need to be able to remember more. It is more important, because if you couldn't think of anything new today, but you could remember who you loved, surely that'd be more important. Okay, then the wolves, Freki and Geri. And I've heard lots of people say, oh, it's this and that and the other. But I just see them as hunger and greed. Okay, because Freki, he feeds his wolves, but he feeds Freki more because he represents hunger, right? So he feeds hunger, right? But he restrains greed because he's fettered. Geri is tied, he's not roaming free, right? He's fettered. And the symbolic part of this is because if he allows him free, then greed would consume everything. Okay? So again, it's like when you look at the way the world is now, greed is free. The chain has been broken, the shackle has come off. And both Freki and Geri stalk this land, they stalk Midgard. Look at the hunger in the world and look at the greed of the rich and the powerful. Yeah. So to me, again, that's a symbolism of the wolves. Then you've got Mim's Well. It represents the night sky, the endless possibilities, the universe that we're looking into. And Odin puts his eye in there as a sacrifice, right, for that knowledge. So he's got one eye in the well of wisdom all the time, right? And that well is there to be dipped through devotional practice. The Ig tree, Yggdrasil, call it what you want. In Norse mythology, it's an ash. In Anglo-Saxon minds, it's actually a yew tree. And makes more sense, Anglo-Saxon wise. A yew is the only tree that will burst out from inside itself and grow again. It never dies, does it? It just regrows. its berries are poisonous. Well, it's not. It's not the seed in the berries poisonous. The flesh apparently is not. But also, like it can be quite hallucinogenic. Apparently, it's like it's not. It's quite. You're not meant to really handle you without gloves, and yet they used to make war bows out of it. So it's again a very powerful symbolism, especially when you look at Odin's sacrifice on the world tree. But what is the world tree? It's invisible to us, isn't it? 'Cause it's a representation again of the universe and the thread, the spine that ties all the worlds together, all the 9 worlds, all the 9 planets as we know them. Yeah, it ties them all together and keeps everything in synchronicity. Okay, and then this symbolism behind Odin himself, because some people see him as an old man, as a tall, really skinny old man, a wanderer. Some people see him as a big, fantastic warrior. Yeah, so is symbolic at any given point in time for what an individual person needs. He's got so many masks and so many names. It's like you can call him by many names and he's going to appear different because he'll have a different glamour. So that's it for today. I just wanted to put this idea of the symbolic side and symbolism to do with as gods into people's minds. You don't have to agree with me. I don't care if you agree with me. And in fact, I hope some of you don't agree with me. I want you to get out there and find out. Don't listen to me. What do I know? Have a fantastic day out there. I hope you're all happy. I hope you're all getting what you want out of life. Remember, daily devotional practice. If you're not doing it, stop wearing the symbolisms and the symbols, the Valknuts and Thor's hammers. If you're not willing to actually spend some time with the gods and your ancestors each day, then you're just a fashion parade, aren't you? Take care out there. Stay safe. See you on the next one in Monasdag.